Okay, today's video, we are going to talk about how you're going to be able to show up multiple times on the Google Shopping image placements. If you don't know what I'm talking about, on Google, where you're trying to advertise through using the Google Ads platform, there's search ads and then there's shopping ads. The search ads are the text ads, shopping ads are the image ads. If you have tried both of them already, for an e-commerce business, you probably already know, or if you don't know, the shopping ads generally do better than the search ads for most people, and probably making up about 70% of your overall sales that you're getting through Google Ads. So the goal always is, how can we get more out of the shopping ads? One of the ways that you do that is by showing up multiple times in the shopping. So typically there's 8 shopping ads showing there. You can be 5, 6 out of the 8, as I've seen and done multiple times. Some of, or should I say most of the people that where you see this is done and have done this in other markets, they didn't do it deliberately, but there are ways that you can actually, if you haven't gotten it already yourself, to do it yourself and set yourself up so-called artificially to get the same thing done for your business. That's what I'm going to go through on this video. You do this and you're going to be able to get 100% more clicks from your shopping campaigns than you had before. So whatever you're making now, double it once this is instituted for your business. And this is easy and something anybody can do, including you. So anyway, with that said, I'll get into the little bit of a background about this, how shopping works, why Google decides to show multiple ads, and then of course how to do it as well, so that you can get the benefit of this going for your own campaigns and shopping ads as well. So with that said, basically, like I said, if you see multiple ads show up in the shopping space for certain companies in certain other markets, if you're searching around through and with Google, or if you've seen your competitor do it and you're wondering how the hell that they are doing this, I can tell you for a fact, having dealt with hundreds of different clients here at my PPC agency over the years, that this wasn't done deliberately. Nobody set out to say, I want to show up 5 times on the shopping ads and here's my plan. They just ultimately did it. So why does Google actually choose to show one person so many times? That doesn't seem like it gives the user the best variety. In the end of the day, it all comes down to their ad serving algorithm. So while most people aren't trying to optimize for this, which leaves, by the way, the opportunity open to you if you actually optimize for it, you can make it far, far more likely that you'll show up multiple times, not just once in the Google Shopping space, if you just follow a very simple plan for your business that I have for you that we figured out works great to get this done for your own company. Where your competitor shows up multiple times or other people where they show up multiple times, Google's ad serving algorithm is the one that decides if they get shown once, twice, upwards of 6 different times. I've never seen more than 6 out of the 8 being one company, but up to 6 is actually fairly often. When and where they're trying to actually do this and decide to do this and boot the other people that want to show up there out comes down to 2 primary things here. The click-through rate of the ads, of the shopping ads, and the conversion rate of the traffic that clicks through the shopping ads. This is the same for Google search ads, by the way, or the text ads. Google's ad serving algorithm is trying to figure out which ad should be shown that's going to get the user the best experience. Click-through rate indicates relevancy. Conversion rate indicates that you delivered something that the market wants. And their goal is to get people to click on ads as much as possible right away and in the future. Give people the best experience, in other words, so that when they clicked on an ad and they got what they wanted, they're more likely now to click on an ad in the future, which makes Google more money in the long run. So they're constantly trying to shift through. There's usually 10 different people that want in on the ad space on Google search at any given time in normal markets where there's normal competition. And so their algorithm's constantly shifting through the ads to find out which ads are going to have the highest click-through rate and the highest conversion rate from the traffic that they do already send you, because that indicates that what they did for the user gave the user the best experience just by looking at those 2 metrics. and will get them more loyalty of clicking on ads from that user in the future. So with that said, everything is about setting up everything that you have with your shopping campaign so that the people that do click through your ads get a higher click-through than the average other person that has their shopping ads show up on the shopping ad space. Same thing on the click-through rate, or excuse me, the conversion rate side. How can you get a higher conversion rate on the clicks you're getting through the shopping campaign clicks that they are already giving you, that Google's already given you? How can you get that conversion rate to be higher than the average person that's already showing up there now on the shopping space there on Google for your market? So with that, they're measuring, are you above average, are you at average, are you below average? If you're below average, they start showing you less. If you're average, they might show you one shopping ad in the shopping space. If you're above average, they might experiment with showing 2 or 3 different ads in the shopping space being your company's products. They'll show multiple of your products there instead of just the one. And they'll test that. And if that overall raises the click-through rate through the shopping ad block as a whole, meaning did people click through one of the shopping ads more than before once they started showing 2 or 3 of your items instead of one, then they'll say, wow, that got what we wanted for the user. Let's try showing 4 of this guy's ads. And then they just keep going until you're all the way up at 6. So basically it's a self-perpetuating feedback loop that's going on that you're trying to feed with positive data, which that positive data turns into then ultimately more clicks and more products that show up, which get you more clicks. Of which decides, of course, whether or not you get this perpetual, perpetuate this feedback loop, this positive feedback loop for yourself, so you show up more and more times, depends on several main things for you, ultimately at the end of the day within that, which is, did the consumer think what they saw on the image itself on your shopping ad was appealing as compared to the other shopping images that are there? Did the consumer think the price you were showing them had better appeal? And it doesn't mean lower price is always better appeal. Many times it's just simply ending the price with a 7, which by the way, that's a very slick way to get a higher click-through rate on your ad, because psychologically people are drawn to numbers that end in a 7. And just understand why. You don't need to understand it. Just try it and see for yourself. A lot of times also, if everything in the shopping space is for a particular product or whatever are priced the same and you go $3 cheaper, you a lot of times get a double the click-through rate from doing that. Or it may be that ultimately you just decide to, to keep it simple, those 2 major things with the price are levers you can pull in order to get the click-through rate up on your ad just by focusing on that. But that's another factor, the price. The other factor that you would have to consider to get your click-through rates up and your conversion rates up so that you can show up more times is going to be the product appeal itself. Obviously, you can't really affect this too much, but based upon your product and the photography that you have of that product, and also the post-processing of the photography, brightening it, sharpening it, adding markup around it. So like if it's a screw, adding markup around it so you can show how long the screw is, or if it vibrates, showing some action things around the product, showing it vibrates. So just by looking at the product, you can quickly tell what the value proposition of that product is. That'll also obviously determine whether or not you get shown more times or not, because they look at the product and they obviously determine whether or not they're going to click through and then ultimately buy based upon the look of that product. And then the other bigger factor, which there's other factors, but these are the main 4. The final factor to consider is just the site appeal. Many guys that are not successful in e-commerce, the main reason why it is because people judge a book by its cover. They get to your site. If your site doesn't look professional, and when I say professional, I mean to the consumer, not you. Nobody cares what you think. The consumer needs to get to your site and feel safe. That this is an established company that has enough money to do a professional site. If it looks like you're trying to save money or don't have money to make the best site possible, they're right away not going to trust you. And even though all the rest of these factors are on point, your conversion rate's going to go down as compared to your competition that has a better, more trustworthy looking website. And then you're not going to have this positive self-perpetuating feedback loop that gets you shown more and more times like I was talking about earlier. So, anymore for an e-commerce site to get a halfway decent e-commerce site, you're talking about $30,000 US or more. If you're not talking about a micro niche where there's not much competition. If you're in a moderately competitive niche, it's going to be 30 grand for a website to have your site be at the level that people are going to right away instantly trust and not have this be a bottleneck for your company. If you're in a competitive space, you're talking about over 100K. If you're in a micro niche where there's not a lot of competition, maybe you can get by with 10 grand. That just to kind of get the general idea. And I know a lot of you guys probably fell off your chair saying, I can't afford that. Well, at the end of the day, this is the most common mistake I see people make trying to get pay-per-click to work, for an e-commerce company or even doing lead generation. They don't invest enough in their landing pages and their websites to be competitive in their market, because people are not going to give a shit about anything else if your site doesn't look like it can be trusted. They're giving you their credit card information. Do you want to give your credit card information to somebody who looks like they can't afford a decent website? No, you don't. You give it to the other guy who doesn't have that crappy website. And so the look of the website needs to be sharp, but it also has to be designed well, because people inherently tie easy usability and looks like it's designed well, it's not confusing, with quality, because they figure if basically if it's confusing, that also is tied to, it basically correlate that with not trustworthy. And to get a site that flows properly, not confusing, all that stuff, it's just going to cost a lot of money unless you already know how to build sites like that yourself and have that experience. Anyway, those are the 4 main things that are going to dictate whether you get shown less or several times on the Google Shopping space. Now, you could go that general direction and try to optimize your business essentially so that you show up more and more times on shopping versus less. But you could also, the trick that I'm sharing with you today that I inadvertently found out through mistake before, that but works great, is you can outcompete your competition and show up multiple times. And this particularly works good if you're at least at par with the rest of the things I already mentioned here though. You actually can upload your products again to Google Merchant Center, and then obviously from Google Merchant Center those products are sent to Google Shopping, so that your shopping campaign actually has in the products that it can pull from multiple products. Specifically how you want to do this is you want to pick your 3 most highest performing products in your product feed that, as you had it before, highest performing on the level of click-through rate and conversion rate. Because those are the products, going back to what I was saying before, that Google wants to promote the most. And so naturally what if you just have every product you have in your store uploaded to Google Merchant Center for Google Shopping to pull from, maybe one of the products you have works really good, but the other products you don't have work very good, so that they only show you one time. Whereas if you upload your best 3 performing products twice, they could actually have you show up twice now, because actually having your best product show up twice will increase the click-through rate from the shopping ad block that they want, so they'll want to start showing you twice from now on, because that makes them more money in the long run, versus if they had to show that best performing item and then another item which wasn't as performing, they would only show you once. And the way that you can actually facilitate this is you can create a second product feed. So if you're using an automated product feed on your site where you basically have all your products using an automated feed plugin of some sort, import your products from your store to Google Merchant Center automatically for you, and updating that once a day is generally how that works. If you already have that, what I recommend to you is you create a second product feed using a spreadsheet, a Google Sheet, which then you're going to take that Google Sheet and submit it to Google Merchant Center as a manual product feed that will work in conjunction or in addition with the automated product feed that you have now. Then with that, you can actually then send to your shopping campaign essentially your top 3 performing items twice. If you go under products in the shopping campaign afterwards, you'll see all the products you had there before, but then your top 3 producing items will be shown up twice in there. and Google won't know it's the same items because their algorithm's not that smart. So with that, then now the shopping and the algorithm that decides which shopping ads are showing and which are not, it'll start trying to test out these three presumably new items, even though they're the same items that you had in there before that were performing well. And then it'll find out basically by taking the top 3 items there, you should show up twice or even 3 times, if you will, because that gets them more money on their end than just having the one item you were only showing up for before. So you're kind of tricking the system, if you will. And as far as I know, there's no official rules against this. There's nothing that says that you can't take one product and upload it twice to Google Merchant Center. Maybe there's somewhere in that fine print there, I don't know. All of that I know is we've done this, we've never had a problem with it, okay? Naturally, it shouldn't hurt anything because Google's determining that it helps their users, otherwise they're not going to show it, and makes them more money. The consumer's happier. Why would they care, essentially? Now, obviously, take into some, level of moderation, consideration as to not going overboard with it. Overboard with this. That's why I said you should only upload your top 3 items there, and only upload them 1 extra time. Don't be uploading them 4 or 5 extra times and try to show up 8 out of the 8 times on the shopping ads because you've uploaded your best items multiple times there. I mean, technically that would be an interesting experiment for you to try. I'm not saying I'm not tying your wrists here on what you can do, but a conservative approach, we'll just say, would be to take your top 3 items by click-through rate, by conversion rate, uploading them again through a second manual feed that is going to work in conjunction with your main automated product feed and get you showing up not just once now, but 2 or 3 times. Or if you're showing up 2 or 3 times, you might start showing up 4, 5, or 6 times. So basically, you have the potential to just double the amount of times that you're showing up, essentially. And that's about what it does for the clients where we do this for them and have used this in the past. As a second way you could do this, by the way, if you're using a manual product feed already, and you're saying, Corey, I already am using a manual product feed. You could technically upload the product again on the same product feed, or you could have a second manual product feed to do what I'm telling you here. Just to clarify on that. But anyway, as far as doing that, of course, we're always trying to optimize for higher click-through rate, higher conversion rates using the things I said. But ultimately, this works particularly well with micro niches where there's not a lot of competition, and we'll upload the items again, we'll get shown 5, 6 times instead of 2 or 3 times in the shopping space. And then we'll double the click-through rate from our ads. And more competitive niches that aren't so of a small of a niche, we'll go from like 1 to 2 or 3 times that we're showing up, or 4 times that we're showing up. So in other words, it just gets a little bit more action, if you will, from it. You'll get more action from it. The less competitive your niche is, as we have found. But overall, you could just kind of assume, at the very, very minimum, you're going to get a 20% increase in the amount of clicks from your shopping campaigns once you've done this. And Google's had 90 days to test out the new top 3 products that you've reinserted into the shopping campaign and figured out and found its bearings with it. More than likely, you're going to double the click-through rate, though, on your shopping campaign. You're going to make a ton more money from this with basically and relatively very, 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 very little work. I mean, basically, you could do this thing here, if you even have even a little bit of experience with Google Merchant Center and product feeds, in an hour, and double the output of your click-through rate on your shopping campaigns. That's probably making you quite a bit of money already. In just that little amount of time. If you're not doing shopping, by the way, you should definitely do it because it almost always works for an e-commerce company. And if it's not, you probably just either didn't give it enough time to work or you had something wrong with it. And if you were wondering what the hell you need to do to get it working, you can reach out to our firm. 98% of the time, shopping will work for e-commerce companies on Google search. And it will also work well for you on Bing, on Microsoft ads as well, doing it on Bing.com. So anyway, that's the whole thing kind of in a nutshell that I wanted to explain today, what the so-called trick it is that we have that can get you an additional 100% click-through rate on your ads. I hope that you obviously go ahead and do this and enjoy the benefits from it. If you have any questions, leave me a comment below. I get back to every single person that leaves me a comment on this channel, usually within a couple days' time. If you have any questions about PPC at all, feel free to ask me some questions about that. I'd be more than happy to try to comment and let you know what general directions you should go as well, as I do for other people that comment on this channel. If you thought the video was valuable, I'd appreciate it if you would give it a like, and also consider subscribing, as we have a ton of other information on this channel that I'm giving you that comes from the tests that we do for our few dozen clients that running their ads on Google, Facebook, and so forth that are working, that we're giving to you on a silver platter on this channel for you to use. It's the best information you're going to find online, on social media, like in general, about how to make money physically with running PPC ads. And so therefore you should damn well subscribe. If you like the channel, by the way, I also got a blog at GaryTPPC.com/blog where you'll also find writing from myself. Ultimately, if you are looking for somebody to just handle your campaigns, get results on them, and want to get results before you have to pay any kind of fees to do so, that's exactly what our agency does. If you're getting results now, we'll guarantee more profit from your campaigns, and actually in excess of any fees that we charge before we charge any fees. So, and ultimately, if you're making $4,000 a month now, we can take you to 10 grand a month more in profit before we charge any fees at all. Something like that is just a general example of the type of work that we do for clients here, with the understanding that you want to work long-term with a really good ad agency after that. And we're willing to put our money where our mouth is up front on your campaigns. So if you're interested in that, reach out to our firm. We'd be more than happy to talk to you and see if it might be a fit to work with our agency. But I'll wrap everything up with that. Hopefully you enjoyed, and hope to see you on my next video where we have another great strategy for you there. See you later.